Good evening, faculty, staff, and administrators of Oakland University. Today, my colleagues and I will be sharing a programmatic intervention plan specifically dedicated to serving the transfer student population. While the execution and details of our plan are under review, we would like to share this idea with you in hopes that our proposal will bring forth administrative participation as well as faculty and staff agreement so that we can become better equipped to properly serve an important yet overlooked population of students.
According to an article in the New York Times, transfer students make up more than 38% of all students in higher education. They are also largely responsible for replacing the revenue an institution loses when students decide not to return during their first or second year of their education. Many transfer students struggle with the transition to a four-year university and find that their current services in such institutions are not as strong and concise compared to two-year colleges. Students that start their schooling in a community college are less likely to earn their bachelor's degrees upon entering a four-year institution. They struggle to create relationships with their peers, their professors, and their advisors, especially when they are accustomed to small class sizes and more individualized attention. The attention students receive at their two-year institutions is sometimes considered to be hand-holding, as students seem to be unprepared to be self-sufficient as they transfer. But some suggest more of a handoff that requires assistance from both institutions to make the transition more successful. Transfer students report, among other things, a need for more transfer-centered orientation programs, knowledge of campus resources, and support services. According to the Oakland University Enrollment Report from the fall of 2017, those who entered Oakland University as a transfer student make up 39% of all undergraduate students. The primary schools transfer students come from are Oakland Community College and Macomb Community College, with 56% or 28% each of incoming transfers coming from those colleges. Only about 20% of transfer students come from four-year schools in Michigan.
Of those that transfer to Oakland from previous institutions, the problem of retention to graduation arises. While Oakland has an office specifically for first-year students, the First Year Advising Center, or FYAC, it focuses mostly on freshmen, undecided, or the redeciding student population. The current advising model for the FYAC requires all first-year students to meet with their advisors once in the fall and once in the winter, and they are also able to schedule follow-up appointments as needed. This helps students who may be in different transitional phases of their educational journey maintain a consistent point of contact and level of accountability with their advisors. Once a student has completed their first year and have obtained the 28 credit hour benchmark, or if undecided or redeciding students have declared their major, they will transition to working with their assigned faculty advisor in their prospective academic unit.
Currently, there are no known requirements for transfer students to meet with any faculty or advisors until they must meet with their faculty advisor to discuss plans for classes and graduation. They do not have an opportunity to meet with someone to ensure that they are transitioning well to their new environment. If transfer students had a general advisor similar to a first-year advisor to guide them along their first year at the institution, they may have a more manageable time navigating the new university. Therefore, the goals for this intervention are to increase emphasis on supporting transfer students through their transition, help institutions grow and meet their attendance goals, train and utilize current faculty and advising offices both in first-year advising and in each field of study to have a specific focus on transfer students, create and implement more transfer-centered orientation programs and increase knowledge of campus resources and support services, and importantly, retain students to graduation.
Our program will create a specific position within the FYAC that focuses on transfers, but also have liaisons in each unit of study that Oakland offers. These liaisons will specialize in assisting transfers and will be trained in catering to their specific needs. Students will be required to meet with these advisors at least once during their first semester. This will be done either in the main advising office for those that do not have a plan of study or a chosen major, or within their major advising offices. It will be important to ensure that transfer liaisons are clearly showcased to the students and that students know the advisor's specific roles for the continued success of these positions. This can happen during transfer student orientations so that students gain a better understanding of the expectations of them to meet with an advisor, as well as having reminders sent to them through their email to ensure that they will be able to make appointments. Transfer orientations will also provide an opportunity for students to meet with their prospective advisors. During that time, begin to create a relationship and connections that are important for their success.
The theories and concepts we coupled with our intervention plan were human development ecology theory, self-authorship, and Chickering's 7 vectors. The human development ecology theory, coined by Yuri Bronfenbrenner, works collectively to explain 5 environmental systems that an individual interacts in. The importance of this theory is to help professionals in higher education begin to make sense of external factors that may contribute to a student's current and future development. The human development ecology theory is crucial to the student experience because students arrive at new institutions and may have to rid themselves or develop completely new systems in order to be successful. Based on what students have learned from their surroundings or previous institutions, there could be an immediate disconnect in finding a sense of belonging on campus. The theory of self-authorship by Baxter-Magolda is commonly used to examine one's internal capacity to construct individuals' beliefs, relationships, and sense of self. Baxter-Magolda believes that before one can be a self-authored individual, there are 4 stages that will be encountered. All of these have to do with the recognition of discovery in where a student currently finds themselves and has the confidence in moving forward and embracing flaws in their own ability to succeed. With transfer students, these stages can appear seamless with the right resources and support, but for many it is a hard process. Having confidence in one's own ability and destiny can directly contribute to boldness in asking for help when needed, as well as personal engagement and involvement. Lastly, we examine Chickering's 7 vectors in highlighting phases students may encounter while developing a sense of identity and going through psychological development. Arthur Chickering makes it known that students may not hit all 7 vectors, but they have beneficial explanations for where students may be in their educational journey, which highlights the fact that the relationship between vectors are not unilinear but have free-flowing connections. Looking at these vectors, transfer students can become more competent in understanding their environment and their own interpretation of their purpose. They are believed to begin getting more accustomed to their new institution and recognizing their newfound identity.
In order to introduce this sort of programming into higher education facilities, we recommend placing a transfer advisor at transfer orientations, both in the first year advising centers and in fields of study. They will be responsible for making first contact with students and relaying students' next steps. Then we want to ensure that there are required meetings with advisors. In these meetings, the advisors will create a plan of study with the student, discover and use their interests and needs as a basis to refer them to resources around campus and encourage them to get involved, as well as recommend positive learning strategies such as study skills, time management, etc.
The FYAC will take data on total number of new transfer students per semester as well as percentage retained. There will be meetings twice a year to discuss progress, ideas, and implement new processes.
By using several theoretical frameworks, we are able to gain an understanding of where students are currently at in their developmental journey and where they can go. Our goal is to have students become authors of their own lives by assisting them through tough transitions and helping them better understand their own development. We also know that transfer students' developmental ecology is changing as they transfer, so it is important for them to develop an ecology at the new university to feel a sense of belonging. And finally, it's important that we have advisors that help students develop competence in navigating the new space, help students establish their identities, and move through autonomy towards independence. As a result of this programmatic intervention of implementing advisors for transfer students, the transfer students at Oakland University will be more likely to persist to graduation, feel more of a sense of belonging, and have a better understanding of themselves throughout their developmental process.